effort as a country to say disband all those groups. And indeed, they were disbanded. Today, the invisible forces have written on their car, and they can tell you they were trained in South Africa, they were trained in Serbia. You think if they are chasing Kofi as chairman of the NDC, and I defend myself properly, and you don't defend yourself well, they won't get at you. Pray it never happens. Pray it never happens. Don't think it is only for us in NDC. We have seen crisis that was generated in many countries by the press. And the pressmen suffered for it. We have seen crises in countries that were generated by politicians. The politicians suffered for it. But many innocent people died. Women and children suffer. So let us not condone it and wait for the NDC to come and hold press conferences and talk, and then they say it's the NDC. It is not the NDC. It is not the NDC. If we are mentioning Nana Akufo-Addo, it is because he is the president. It is not because we are trying to look at the or dance like the MPP. Never. We are not copying them. We are saying that he's sitting in his office in Flagstaff House, a police detachment that routinely are posted to Flagstaff House. They are not selected because they are coming to get President Mahama and the NDC. Flagstaff House is visited by all kinds of people, and I'm sure you in the media, you go every now and then. If they are asked like that, you will be one day affected. And that will be when you say, Kofi said it. That is the truth. The police commandant of that department is confronted, is dragged out of his car with his uniform, is torn into shreds, is forced to walk naked. And they follow him and thinking he will go into his house, so they go and reach him in the house. What is the crime of the policeman? And the policemen, they have an association, they are serving officers, they have sworn to protect you and I, innocent people. And when that happens, how many of you in the press condemn it? How many of you even, brought up courage to report that this is what happened? It's dastardly, it's not good. And the policemen, no of your honor. The policemen are quiet because they don't want to react and see themselves posted to some community in some villages. That's what they will tell you. Yes, that's what they will tell you. So let us be courageous, let us be bold, let us live by the oath we have sworn that we are going to work with the pen and be truthful and die for it. I can give you examples of journalists that have been honored the world ground for dying for the truth.
I think this is the appropriate point for me also. Allow the the next question has to do with the woman at Amrahia. I don't blame the advisors of anybody, I blame the person who acts based on somebody's advice. You have been told something by a woman in Amrahia. We don't know any woman in Amrahia. We don't know whether anybody spoke to you or not. So ask your question. Let's say that this thing happened during Professor Mills' time. And let us answer that question, whether it happened or it didn't happen. So now if we answer, and it turns out that it didn't happen, is it you who bears the blame or the unknown woman in Amrahia, which all of us know? So tell us, did you see anything happening in Amrahia? And then, so that we can answer that. Yeah, did you see anything happening in Amrahia or or anywhere else? Tell us and let us also respond.
Chairman, this is a reported statement from.
So you cannot confirm.
I don't have to.
But generally, let me tell you.
Yes.
Generally, the first transition that happened under this Fourth Republic happened in 2001. who were all victims, were ministers whose party had lost power. I was ejected by a team of 24 soldiers wielding guns with bayonets. I refused to move and demanded that I should be provided alternative accommodation because, having lost as a minister of state, I was entitled to accommodation as a member of parliament. And until that accommodation was provided, I was prepared to die. I wasn't going to move from that house. Within 24 hours, a new accommodation was provided, and it was after that I moved. Similar things happened to many people. Kofi-Addo suffered it, Abated suffered it, Victor Beho suffered it, Alhaji Muhammad Mumuni, name them, everybody. Vehicles that were procured in accordance with the rules of retiring civil servants and public servants, vehicles that were valued and procured and paid for, were still being seized by the goons of LPP. I at that time decided that I will still drive my vehicle and let anybody who cares come to seize that vehicle. They wrote Jacob Bechevilante of whatever member that person. He wrote
General one.
to go and pay some additional money because in his opinion the values that were arrived at by the state valuers were wrong, that we should pay additional money. I refused to pay, and I didn't go to court. People went to court, colleague ministers went to court, only for the court to order that they should deposit the money that was being demanded, so that in the end, if they were proved innocent, they will refund the money. The money still remains with the state up to date, and that case was never heard anymore. So we went through all these things, but God being so good, by the end of the third year of the then NPP government in power, those our colleagues who meted that treatment could not look to us in our faces. Pamela Bartels kept apologizing anywhere he met any of us. So it dawned on everybody that the atmosphere that God soiled and the polarization that had come into the country was as a result of the acrimonious transition. So we all came together as political parties to draft a transition bill to be presented to whatever government wins power in 2008 for promulgation into law, so that as our democracy grows, everything will be governed by law. In 2008, when NDC won the elections, the bill had not been sent to Parliament. But because Sir P.V. Obin was the consultant working on the bill, Professor Mills nominated P.V. as the chairman of the transitional team so that he could use the bill, the provisions of the bill, to guide the transition. And that was why you saw a smoother transition under Professor Mills than the 2001 transition. So I'm surprised to hear anybody saying that Professor Mills' transition was acrimonious. The seats were sold in 2001, and Professor Mills did everything to make sure that we didn't continue on that path. And that was where he said, he quoted Mahatma Gandhi, that an eye for an eye will leave the whole society blind. And so he has come as a father of all Ghanaians. So he will not go along that path. His own wife had suffered that humiliation before, but he said he had forgiven everybody. And so it was based upon this that he issued a statement that all district chief executives, heads of state institutions and so on should remain at post. Some remain there for 3 months, some remain there for more than 1 year. Some who had less than 2 years to go on retirement were allowed to remain there and went on retirement peacefully. So don't let us reconstruct history. These are the facts of the situation. NDC would have done worse things than the 2001, but because we had a good leader at that time who decided that we must have a clean break from the past. As we are talking now, that bill has now become law. And the whole transitional process now is governed by law. In less than a week ago, Nana Akufo-Addo swore that he will uphold the constitution and the laws of the Republic of Ghana. And see to the whether well-being or welfare, there's not much difference of everybody, and do good to all manner of persons. In Ghana, what has happened? So whose name should be mentioned? When you are the commander-in-chief and you allow gangsters to be humiliating state security officers, where are we going to? And I am not surprised at all, because throughout the campaign I kept warning